Okay, good evening, people. No idea how this is going to go. Usually, I don't get anybody joining me, which is most disappointing. It really is. I can only, trust in the Lord and believe that that's the Lord's wish for me to not get any viewers. Um, Although I can't understand why. But there's lots of things, that as Christians we do and we have to go through, and we don't understand why. And we just have to, if it's your will, Lord, then so be it. But anyway, I was on TikTok earlier, and as usual, I got bananaed. Um, I mean, it was my own fault. I shouldn't have said Muhammad loved to suck on little boys' dinkies. I should have realised, obviously, that that is going to, get a ban from the Muslim moderator, and it did. So, in a way, it was my own fault for, saying that and rising to the bait of the troll who came up. But anyway, I believe I made my point on there. Out of the few Muslims that came up, none of them could deal with the question, which isn't unusual. None of them can deal with it. I mean, I didn't even get round to the rest of my question because there was more to it. I only sort of got to the beginning part of it, which was Al Imran 119. Muhammad believes in the books. The books that were there at that time was the Bible. Um, Several different languages that it was written in. And obviously the different Bibles that it possibly could have been, only two really, because it wouldn't have been the Latin Vulgate that was in Rome, and Germany, France, England, and Spain. It would have been either the Codex Sinaiticus, written in Hebrew and Aramaic, or the Ethiopian Bible. But more than likely, the Codex Sinaiticus. Either way, it would have been the Bible still that he believed in Al Imran 119. And of course, the next part of the question was going to be 7157, where he is found by name in that book. Now, of course, Al Imran came about 7 years after Surah 7157, which was an early Meccan Surah. He got that in Mecca. Al Imran, he got in Medina. Okay, so it came 7 years later. Now, when it says in Al Imran, he believes in that book, he believes in the books. As I've stated already, that book must have been the Codex Sinaiticus, predating 300 years before the Quran. Why didn't he check to see, why didn't he say, where is my name in this book? Because he'd already been told he could be found in that book by name in Surah 7, Ayah 157. And obviously, if he believes in that book, he must have read that book, or someone must have read it to him. Either way, he's going to find out that his name is not in that book. And surely, wouldn't he have turned around and said, hold on a minute, I'm supposed to be in that book. Where am I? Surely he would have done. But anyway, I mean, the main part of it is that Al Imran 3119 says that Muhammad believes in the books, Al Kitab. Now, in the 7th century, when Al Imran was revealed, the Bible was already written in Armenian, English, Syriac, Hebrew, well, Old English, not English that we use today, but Old English. Armenian, Syriac, Hebrew, Aramaic, Greek, Latin, Coptic, and Ethiopian. Those were the languages, and also, I believe, as well, Indian. and that's from reading from the book of Acts, chapter 8, verses 26 to 40, where Philip met the Ethiopian eunuch who was reading Isaiah 53, no doubt from his Ethiopian Bible. And Philip explained to him about Jesus Christ and baptism, which you can't find in the Old Testament, which the Ethiopian eunuch was reading. You can only find in the New Testament. So Philip would have given him information of the New Testament. And after he baptizes him, the Ethiopian eunuch returns back to Ethiopia, no doubt with his Ethiopian Bible, including the New Testament copy of it, to return back to his high-ranking official job in the courts, serving the Queen Candace. And Philip, we know, was taken by the Holy Spirit to India. And again, when he went to India, he would have obviously, a Bible would have gone with him, and no doubt it would have been translated into the many different dialects at that time in India. And of course, that all predates the Quran by 600 years. So by the time Al Imran comes along, 119, where it says Muhammad believes in the books, we know it would have been in India, Africa, North Africa, Egypt, Ethiopia, Germany, France, Spain, England, Korea, Japan, and the Middle East. And as I say, we know it also would have been in Armenian, Old English, Syriac, Hebrew, Aramaic, Greek, Latin, Coptic, and Ethiopian, which was Ge'ez, the language of Ge'ez. So, we know that for a fact. And also towards the end of the 7th century, there were some monks that translated it into Sogdian language. So, for somebody to come along and corrupt this book, either at that time or afterwards, they would have needed to have gone all around the whole world: Middle East, Korea, Japan, Germany, France, Spain, England, North Africa, Egypt, and Ethiopia, and India, collected up all the different Bibles in all the different languages: Armenian, English, Syriac, Hebrew, Aramaic, Greek, Latin, Coptic, Ethiopia, and Indian, and retranslated it all and then replaced them all. It would have been impossible. Would have been absolutely impossible for that to happen. So, basically, it's no way can the Bible, from all that evidence, be corrupted. And also, as I say, Muhammad believed in it. So if Muhammad believed in it, then it definitely wasn't corrupted. Unless, of course, you're going to admit Muhammad believed in a corrupted book. But then, of course, we now have the other thing where if the Bible's not corrupted, which it clearly isn't by all the evidence, that means the Quran must be corrupted. So obviously, yes, Muhammad did believe in a corrupted book. He believed in a corrupted book called the Quran. Sad, really is sad, because, as I say, in Al Imran 119, he actually states that he believes in the Bible, which is an uncorrupted book. So for some reason, he went from believing in an uncorrupted Bible to believing in a corrupted Quran. Why would he do that? Hold on, let's think. Shortly after that, he married Aisha, 6-year-old Aisha. And unfortunately, the Bible tells him, as a prophet, you can't do that, Muhammad. Whereas the Quran 65:4 tells him he can do it. Maybe that's why he went from believing in the uncorrupted Bible to believing in the corrupted Quran. Probably, yeah, probably. That's probably one of the reasons. But this is why they bananaed me on my TikTok account, because I was asking this question, and unfortunately, the Muslims couldn't answer it. They just had no answer as to why Muhammad said he believed in the Bible in Al Imran 119. And why, when Muhammad believes in it, do Muslims today not believe in it? because actually what they're doing there is that they're not following and obeying Muhammad. And yet they claim, that they are the best people at following the prophets, especially Muhammad. I mean, they pray for the guy every day. Every day they do their daily prayers. They pray directly to Muhammad and they say, "Oh, Muhammad, we love you so very much. Please, please let us bless you, Muhammad." And yet they then turn around and say, but Mohammed, where you believe in the Bible and you said you believed in the Bible, we don't believe in that actually. So we're not going to follow you on that actually. We're going to tell you, no, go away, silly little man, basically. Which is a shame, I mean, it's a shame that they disregard Muhammad that way, so highly. They disregard him so much that, the books that he believed in, they turn around and say, well, actually, Muhammad, we're not going to believe in those same books that you believed in, It's a bit of a shame. There you go. Unfortunately, uh, what it also proves is that what I'm saying is right, dead right, and at 100% correct. Because all the Muslims could do to answer me was get TikTok to banana me. And it's the same thing, whenever I bring a question to the Muslims, they can never answer it. The only way they can answer it is by getting TikTok to banana me, ban me. I can actually say ban here. I can't say it on TikTok, but I can here. So yeah, that's the only response Muslims have got, is get TikTok to ban me. They basically, mass report me to such a scale. Then they come on and start swearing and breaking the rules themselves, mass reporting themselves, and TikTok finally banned my life. They can never come up and answer me properly, and give me a full, proper, correct answer. As I say, the only option they have is to get TikTok to ban me, which is such a shame, because all it does is there's 50, 60, 70 people watching, sometimes more than that. And all it does is prove to all those people watching that I'm right and they're always wrong, because that's their only answer. Get him banned, get him banned. And I love it, because the Bible does say that. The Bible just says, that they will, persecute you and to such a degree, that they'll try to keep you quiet and shut you down however they possibly can, to stop you speaking the truth. And it just proves that you are speaking the truth. So Al Imran 119, Muhammad said he believes in the books. Now, this is a surah that was revealed when he got to Medina. In Medina, they had the Jews and the Christians. And so the books that Muhammad believed in would have been the books that the Jews and the Christians had. Now, at that time, as I said, we know the Bible was already written in Armenian, Old English, Syriac, Hebrew, Aramaic, Greek, Latin, Coptic, and Ethiopian, and Indian. We know the Bible was written in those languages at the time Muhammad said he believed in the books. We also know that from the oldest surviving Bibles, there was a Latin Vulgate written in Latin, and that was written by Jerome, a 4th century church father, so predating the Quran by 300 years. Okay, and we know that was used in Rome, Germany, France, Spain, and England. Okay, we also know there was a Codex Sinaiticus Bible, and that also dates from the same period as the Latin Vulgate, 300 AD, 300 years before the Quran and Al Imran 119, where Muhammad said he believes in the books. Now, more than likely not, the Codex Sinaiticus is the Bible that was used in the Middle East because it was written in Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek. Okay, there was one version that was Greek and Hebrew, and there was another version which was Aramaic and Hebrew. And in the Middle East, they would have used the Hebrew and Aramaic version. And so that is the book that Muhammad would have said he believes in. It's exactly the same as the Bible we have today. Um, uh, as I say, there was also Korea and Japan had Bibles. We know that. There was also monks who translated parts of the Psalms and parts of the Gospels into Sogdian, a language called Sogdian. So that was another language that it was also in. Now, if Muhammad wasn't reading the Codex Sinaiticus in Hebrew and Aramaic, then he was reading the Ethiopian Bible in Ge'ez. Ge'ez is an old Semitic language. It's supposed to predate Hebrew and Arabici. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but they claim that basically Ge'ez, the old Ethiopian Bible language, supposedly dates back to 5,000 BC. So, I mean, if that date is correct, then obviously it does predate Arabici by thousands of years. And obviously Hebrew as well. But I mean, of course, that also proves how false the Quran is, because Ge'ez is the original language, not Arabici. But also the Ethiopian Bible pre dates the Quran and Al Imran 119 by 100 years at least. The oldest Ethiopian Bible still in existence is predated to 500 AD. The Codex Sinaiticus, 300 AD. The Latin Vulgate, 300 AD. And all those Bibles are exactly the same as the Bible we have today. And one of those Bibles would have been the Bible that the Jews and the Christians had in their hands, Al-Baqarah 89, Al-Baqarah 97, Al-Baqarah 101, that Muhammad would have believed in Al-Imran 119, either the Codex Sinaiticus or the Ethiopian Bible. And that's basically, as I say, where the protected group came exactly unstuck. They couldn't answer this question. They couldn't deal with this question. They had no answers for it at all. And they had to run away from it. But as I say, it's not the first time, I mean, when I brought them the question of Jesus blaspheming and committing shirk in order to get crucified, they couldn't deal with that question. When I asked about love in the Bible and conditional love from Allah, they couldn't deal with that question. When I asked about marriage, they couldn't deal with that question. When I asked about 65-4 and sleeping with tiny little babies, they couldn't deal with that question. When I asked about 7157, Muhammad can be found in that book. Why didn't Muhammad go and check where he could be found in that book and tell everybody? He never did. Why? They couldn't deal with that question. No matter what question I bring the protected group, they cannot deal with it, except for to get me bananaed. Now, as I say, it's such a shame, that my brothers and sisters don't support me enough on this channel, because, if they did, then I know then the protected group would come to this channel as well. They're not going to bother coming to this channel because my brothers and sisters don't bother coming here. They go to other ones where you can ask a question for $500. Give me $500 and I'll answer your question. I don't do that. I won't do that ever. And so because of that, they don't bother coming here, which is a shame, because even if they came here and put the question in the chat, I would still answer them, um, But there you go. Unfortunately, they don't. They'd much rather go to, as I say, another channel where they can put their question in a super chat, pay $500, and have their question answered, rather than come here where I would answer it for nothing. Go figure, because I can't figure. I can't figure that. I mean, as I say, it was a clear-cut question. Muhammad believes in the books. So if Muhammad believes in the books, which must be the Bible, because the Bible predates that verse where it said Muhammad believes in the books. And if the Bibles predate that, that proves that is the Bible that Muhammad believed in. It couldn't have been any other book, because the Jews and the Christians wouldn't have had a different book. They couldn't have had a different book. They would have had either the Latin Vulgate or the Codex Sinaiticus, or a book that those books were copied from, because the Codex Sinaiticus was copied from the original Hebrew and Aramaic and Greek. The Latin Vulgate was copied from the original Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek. So they either had one of those books, the Latin Vulgate or the Codex Sinaiticus, or the book that it was copied from, or there was another book that was similar to the Codex Sinaiticus that was still copied from those books. Either way, it was the same, or the Ethiopian Bible. Whichever one, it was a Bible. That's the point. The book that Muhammad believed in would have been a Bible. That's the point. It would have been a Bible. The same Bible we have today is also the same as the Latin Vulgate. It's also the same as the Codex Sinaiticus. Now, personally, I haven't read the Ethiopian Bible because it's in an old Semitic language called Ge'ez that I can't even read. But I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty certain if I did read the Ethiopian Bible, judging by the book of Acts, chapter 8, verses 26 to 40, where the Ethiopian eunuch was taught by Philip, and he was reading the book of Isaiah, chapter 53. And it explains what is in the book of Isaiah, chapter 53, that he had, which is exactly the same as the book of Isaiah 53 we have today. I've no doubt that that Ethiopian Bible is the same as the Bible we have today. So whatever book, that Muhammad said he believed in Al Imran 119, it must have been the Bible we have today. It couldn't have been a different Bible. It's impossible, because all the proof says that it is the same Bible we have today. The book of Acts, chapter 8, 26 to 40 says it is. The Armenian Bible says it is. The Old English Bible says it is. The Syriac Bible says it is. The Hebrew, Aramaic, Greek, Latin, Coptic, and Ethiopian Bible says it is. The Latin Vulgate says it is. The Codex Sinaiticus says it is. The Ethiopian Bible says it is. And the Middle East, we know the Middle East was using either the Codex Sinaiticus, written in Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek, or the earlier Codex Sinaiticus, written in just Hebrew and Aramaic, or the Ethiopian Bible. Either way, it would have been one of those Bibles. We also know it was in India. We also know it was in Korea. We also know it was in Japan. We also know it was in Germany, France, Spain, England, North Africa, Egypt, and Ethiopia. And what, as I say, is people need to understand is that the only way you can argue against this is, first of all, by saying, okay, the Bible when Muhammad saw it in Medina, in Al Imran 119, was uncorrupted. And he confirmed that and he believed in that. But then after that, that's when it was corrupted. But as I say, that then leaves the protected group with a huge problem, because if it was after that that it was corrupted, that means that someone not only needed to go and change all the manuscripts, because there were manuscripts of the Ethiopian Bible called the Garima manuscripts. There was the Dead Sea Scrolls, and there was also the Septuagint. As I say, there was all the different languages of the Bible at that time: Armenian, Old English, Syriac, Hebrew, Aramaic, Greek, Latin, Coptic, Ethiopian, Indian, and Sogdian. How does one person or even several people go and change all those languages, and rewrite them out in all those languages and collect all the uncorrupted ones and replace them with corrupted ones in all those languages? Sogdian, Armenian, Old English, Syriac, Hebrew, Aramaic, Greek, Latin, Coptic, Ethiopian. Would have been impossible. Would have been absolutely impossible. Even with somebody today who's got a computer, it still would have been a difficult task, because, as I say, not only would they have to collect all those Bibles in all those languages and rewrite out in all those same languages and then replace them all, they would have also had to have done it in India, Africa, Ethiopia, Germany, France, Spain, England, Korea, Japan, and the Middle East. How? How? In the 6th and 7th century, when there was no planes, no cars, no Ferraris, no Lamborghinis, because the one thing you would have needed, as I say, definitely to have done all that, is first of all, a huge, great big computer, and secondly, a very, very fast aeroplane. That's the only way it could have been done. There's no other way it could have been done. It would have been absolutely impossible. And so, really, as I was saying on TikTok before they bananaed me, the only other logical explanation is the Bible's not corrupted, the Quran is. That's the only logical explanation. This is what, the protected group couldn't deal with, and they couldn't answer it. They had no answer to it. And why do you think they had no answer to me putting all this information across, giving all this information, proving, that the Bible's not corrupted, but the Quran is corrupted. And the only answer they had was to get me banned. Why do you think that is? Again, logically, the only logical explanation is because they didn't have an answer. Because the only logical answer is, I am correct. The Bible is not corrupted. The Quran is corrupted. It's the only logical answer to it. Really it is. No idea what Johnny Boy's trying to say, but there you go. Looks like Johnny Boy's, I don't know what Johnny Boy's trying to chatty. I mean, he says Islam is the last tribe fake, which I agree with. I agree with the first one as well. But what he tries to say in the last one, I haven't got a clue. Wrong channel loves, don't know. Wrong channel loves, I don't know what that is supposed to mean, but he's telling me something about the numbers and 1538. I mean, first of all, before I even go to numbers 1538, Johnny Boy, can you actually read? Is reading something that you can actually do, Johnny boy? I'm a bit, you know, I'm a bit thingy that you can't actually even read it yourself, really. But there you go. Who knows? Numbers 15:38. Really? You will have these tassels to look at, and so you will remember all the commands of the Lord, that you may obey them and not prostitute yourselves by chasing after the lusts of your own hearts and eyes. Oh, that's 39. Hold on, where's 38? Speak to the Israelites and say to them, throughout the generations to come, you are to make tassels on the corners of your garments with a blue cord on each tassel. They call them tzits, by the way. But I can't understand why you're bringing that up, you know, tzits. It's what the lady with the problem of the blood disorder who had for 12 years, she touched, you know, Jesus's tzit on the edge of his garment and was cured. Daniel 12:9 says, don't read it. Oh, Daniel. I mean, Johnny boy, you still haven't answered my question yet. Can you read? Have you actually ever managed to read the Beano? I don't think you can actually read. Yeah, fringes on their garments, Johnny boy. What? I don't understand what you're trying to, you know, what you're even saying with fringes on the old garment, Danny, Johnny boy. Where's Daniel gone? Daniel 12:9. Let's see, Mr. Daniel 12:9, and see what that says then now. Go your way, Daniel, because the words are rolled up and sealed until the time of the end. Ooh, wow. Wow, 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 wow. Really? I don't understand. Go your way, Daniel, because the words are rolled up and sealed until the time of the end. Well, I know what that means and I know what that says, but I can guarantee you, Johnny, you don't understand that, because a lot of people misread that verse. I mean, so many people misread that verse, it's unreal. They equate that with the exact same verse in Revelation. You know, the book, the book of you know, the book of names, rather, and who's the book of life. That's it. So they equate that with the book of life. Sadly for you and them, Johnny, you're wrong. It's not talking about the book of life. But you know, should I educate you? I don't know. Second Ezra 6:20. All right. Yeah, you might read them all, Johnny. Whether, you know, lots of people read them, Johnny. Very few people understand them. Okay, let me explain to you, Johnny, and see if you can actually learn a little lesson here. Daniel 12:9 isn't talking about the book of life. Okay, that's sealed, and only the Lamb can open and read. Okay, Daniel 12:9 is talking about the New Testament, Johnny. Okay, the New Testament. I love teaching. It's so great. Creator commands to the were them why ingenious do. Still Daniel is odd today for two. Still Daniel is add today for two. Johnny boy, I can't even reading what you're even writing no more. I mean, I don't know what lingo you're using. I think you're using Ge'ez, the old Ethiopian language. That's what I think you're using, Johnny boy. The old Ge'ez, Ethiopia language, you know. It's certainly not any language I understand anyway. You add it to with three. You add it. You add to it with three ancient Paleo-Modern Hebrew. What? Can I read Strong's Hebrew Dictionary? What? I don't know. Why do I need to read Hebrew, Johnny? There's absolutely no reason to read Hebrew. Absolutely no reason whatsoever to read Hebrew. You can actually read the Bible, Johnny, in any lingo that you like to, and you can still understand it. That's the beauty of the Bible. The beauty of the Bible, you know, is that it is a God-inspired book. It was inspired by God. Johnny, do you really think that God, all-powerful, all-knowing, all-present, you know, all wise, much, much wiser than anybody else on the earth, needs to only communicate in one lingo? Is that what you really believe, Johnny? Because if you do, you know less about God than the protected group, because that's what they believe. And it's so wrong and false, it's untrue. And I can clearly prove that to you, Johnny, just from one Bible verse. Just one Bible verse, Johnny, and I will prove to you that my God, my beautiful living God, the God of the whole wide world, doesn't communicate in just one language. Genesis chapter 17, verse 5. Strangely enough, it's also a verse that proves how false Islam is and how false Alleluia is. Genesis chapter 17, verse 5. For I, Abraham, I am going to change your name, Abram, to Abraham. What did God add to the word name Abram to change it? He added the ha, H-A, ha. What is the ha? It's the breath of life. He added the breath of life to Abram's name. And then why did he do that to Abram's name, which he also did to Sarai, by the way, as well? He added the H and the ha to Sarai's name as well. Why? He tells you in the same chapter and the same verse, if you care to read it. I have changed your name from Abram to Abraham, for I am going to make you a father of many nations. Many nations, plural. Nations, plural. If God is going to make Abraham the father of many nations, plural, Africa, China, India, Egypt, Middle East, England, France, Germany, Spain, why would he only want them to communicate in one lingo? Oh, hold on a minute, he wouldn't, would he? Exactly, Ahmed. You got the question correct. Well done. Give yourself a gold star. No, God would not need people to communicate only in one lingo if he's the God of the whole world. He would want you to communicate in your own lingo. And guess what? He will be able to communicate with you in that lingo. That's what makes him God. Such a shame. I should have stuck to Genesis 17:5 for my topic tonight. But no, the Quran isn't for everyone, Hamed. That's why it's in Arabiki. You cannot read the Quran in any lingo other than Arabiki, Ahmed. And I proved that tonight with my topic, Al Imran 119. Because in Al Imran 119, when you read every single translation, Ahmed, every single translation of Al Imran 119 says Muhammad believed in the scriptures. Not one of them says he believed in the book. books, even though the Arabiki says he believed in the books, Al-Kitab. Muhammad believed in the Al-Kitab, and yet they translate it as scriptures. Wonder why. Wonder why. I could give you many other instances, Ahmed, where the translation is totally incorrect, but Arabiki lessons is a different day, Ahmed. Really? Allah sent multiple messengers speaking all languages. Really, Ahmed? Really? Wow. Wow. Can you tell me who the Chinese messenger was, please? And can you show me the Chinese Quran? Can you tell me who the Indian messenger was, Hamid? And can you show me the Indian Quran? Can you tell me who the African messenger was, Ahmed? And can you show me the African Quran? Oh, Ahmed, I love you very much, sir, but you really should stop, because you know, what you don't understand is you have met the ultimate Imam, Caliph, Mufti, Sheikh, okay? And you're not on my level, Ahmed, all right? Allah has protected their identity. I'll tell you what he didn't protect, Ahmed. He didn't actually protect them, you know, surviving, did he? Because the Chinese Quran is lost, isn't it? The Indian Quran is lost, isn't it? The African Quran is lost, isn't it? In fact, the only Quran that survives is the Arabiki Quran, isn't it? I mean, luckily, we do still have Mr. Allah's Armenian Bible, Coptic Bible, Ethiopian Bible, Syriac Bible, Aramaic Bible, Hebrew Bible, English Bible, Latin Bible. Unfortunately, you protected groups say that's corrupted. So he didn't even protect that, did he? Which is a bit of a shame, because that proves that Surah 15, Ayah 9 of the Quran is also incorrect. What a shame. Where he said in Surah 15, Ayah 9, I, Mr. Allah, I will protect every single one of my scriptures. Allah, no, you're wrong. You didn't protect your Indian scripture. You didn't protect your Chinese scripture. You didn't protect your African scripture. You didn't protect your English scripture. You didn't protect your German scripture. You didn't protect your Spanish scripture. In fact, you didn't even protect your Arabiki scripture, did you, Allah? Because Muhammad said in Bukhari 4999, take the Quran from one of four people: Ibn Masud, Ubay ibn Ka'b, Zayd, Thabit. Oh dear. Where's Ibn Masud's Quran, Ahmed? Where's Zayd's Quran, Ahmed? Where's Ubay ibn Ka'b's Quran, Ahmed? Where's Thabit's Quran, Ahmed? Oh yeah, Uthman burnt them all. Wow. Uthman came along and said, no, Muhammad, you're wrong. Don't take them from those four. Those four are stupid. I'm going to burn all those and write my own one. And so Uthman did that. He burnt all the Qurans that Muhammad said take from, and then he wrote his own one. Ahmed, can you show me Uthman's Quran, please? No, I can't show you Uthman's Quran. Why not, Ahmed? Because the only Quran we have today, which is used by 92% of Muslims in the world, is the Hafs Quran. Hold on, Ahmed. Who is Hafs? Oh, Hafs, he's the guy that Muhammad said, do not take a hadith from him or his family, because they are liars, they are cheats, they are thieves, and they are plagiarizers. Wow! Muhammad discounted Hafs as a writer of the Quran and said Ibn Masud, Ubay ibn Ka'b, Thabit or Zaid is the one who should write it. And what do you have today? The Hafs Quran that Muhammad said don't use. Oh, Lord have mercy. So, I mean, without even talking about my topic of Al Imran 119, my guest Ahmed has proved that the Quran is corrupted. Thank you so much, Ahmed, for allowing me to prove that the Quran is corrupted without even using my topic. Well done. Well done, Ahmed. I love you for that. So, let me just go through my topic one more time. Jesus, what does it matter what color he was, Johnny? Does it bother you what color Jesus was? Is that really a problem to you? What color people are? Is that really so high up on your list? You know, the color of people, that if they're a certain color, they don't. You know, they're not suitable to you, Johnny. Is that the type of person you are? If so, I can totally ignore you for the rest of this show. Okay, so yes, the colour of people is very, very important to you. Okay, Johnny, thank you very much. Goodbye. Please leave my studio and don't come back. So, Al Imran 119, Muhammad believed in all the books. Don't go by the transliteration, which is totally incorrect, as most of the Arabiki transliterations are. Okay, go by the Arabiki. Okay, because you can't follow the translation, because literally the Muslims who translate the Quran lie. They lie through their teeth about what it says. Okay, if they told you the truth, if they wrote the Quran out truthfully, word for word, verse for verse, no one would believe this book. No one in Ingalo would believe it anyway. No, actually, Muhammad didn't say that. Muhammad didn't say that the Arabs are the most perfect people. He said the Arabs are the best people of the whole world. But then he said that the best people of the Arabs are the Qurayshi Yemeni. Just the people from Yemen, Ahmed, are the best, okay? According to Muhammad. Not Arabs, okay? Because Arabs are not only in Yemen, they're also in Saudi Arabia as well, aren't they? Ha ha, Med. Okay. But your Prophet Muhammad didn't say the Arabs of Saudi Arabia are the best, most perfect people. He said they are from Yemen that are the most perfect people, and only from Yemen. Yes, Ahmed. Yes, he did, Ahmed. Listen, Ahmed, don't tell your teacher no when you don't know, okay? The Qurayshi tribe, Ahmed, were from Yemen. That's where the Qurayshi tribe were from. Muhammad was part of the Qurayshi tribe. He said the best of people are the Arabs. And then he said the best of the Arabs are the Qurayshi, the Yemeni Qurayshi. If you don't believe me, Ahmed, go and check your hadith where he said it. Lord have mercy. See, I mean, the protected group, they don't even know what their own books say. It's so embarrassing, you know. I mean, it was on YouTube just recently. Sneeko, you know, that silly little boy who they've converted, you know, because of his viewing figures. He was with the big top Shaky Shake in Shaky Shake Land, and he was asking the big Shaky Shake on YouTube. 20 billion people saw it, except for Hamid. And he said to him, how can he not be racist when he said the best people are from Yemen? And Shaky had to do a load of twisting and lying to say, oh, he didn't really say that. And then Uthman Ibn Faruqi, ketchup liar, even he then dealt with it as well. God. And the only one who hasn't seen it is Ahmed. Ahmed doesn't watch YouTube. He doesn't watch Shaky Shake Shakes on YouTube. Oh, I love them. I love them. What Mohammed's airline? Have you seen it lately, Mr. Z? Really? What does Mohammed's airline look like now, Mazed? Ahmed, if you wish to believe that you are the best of people, that's fine. But unfortunately for you, Ahmed, what you're doing is proving how racist you are, how racist Muhammad was, and how racist Islam is. And that's exactly the point Sneeko was trying to make. If Muhammad said the best people are Arabs and the best people of the Arabs are the Yemeni, that is racist. And that's why Shaky Shake 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 had to twist it and turn it to say he didn't really mean that. Because he didn't want Sneeko to think that he was racist. And all you've just done, Mohammed, is prove that exactly that. He was racist. And so is Islam. Thank you, Ahmed. Thank you for proving how racist he was. You can join quite quickly, Ahmed. You click on the link. There's the link on the screen, or there's the link in the chat. Click on either one of them. That will alert me that you wish to join as a guest, and then I will invite you up. And if you can't click on it, just type that into your computer, https://streamyard.com/E5UTKNR7MD. Either way, then you will be able to join, Ahmed. Islam is Vatican, same as Christianity, Judaism, Orthodox and Catholic. No, it's not, Johnny. That's why I gave you Genesis chapter 17:5. Genesis chapter 17:5 proves that Islam is not the same as Christianity, because Christianity is for the whole wide world. Islam is not for the whole wide world. Islam, as Ahmed has just proved, is only for Arabs, and only for the Arabs from Yemen. It's a bit of a shame, really, that at the moment Yemen is a 50-year civil war where the Shia and the Sunni are both trying to unalive each other. But there you go. You know what? This is the home of Islam. The home of Islam is Yemen. And if you look at Yemen, as I say today, the Shia and the Sunni are basically trying to unalive each other to take control of Yemen, the home of Islam. And they're doing it following Surah 49, Ayah 9 of the Quran, which basically says, Muslims, you must go and unalive all the other Muslims when they don't agree with you. And the Shia don't agree with the Sunni don't agree with the Shia, the Maliki don't agree with the Hanafi don't agree with the Salafi, you know, the Jurafi don't agree with the Jalafi, you know, the Pigafi don't agree with the Pogafi, you know, I mean, there's thousands of different sects and none of them agree. Just in Sunni alone, you've got 7 or 8 different sects, just in Sunni sects alone. So, and none of them agree with each other, and all of them unalive each other. So that's it, folks. You know, I've proved once again how corrupt the Quran is and how the Bible isn't corrupted. No Muslim could answer me. You know, I have a question. If Jesus spoke Aramaic, why isn't there a Bible written in that language? Why is the oldest Bible in Greek? You do know that you can't trust a source that's not in its original language. Mr. Z, first of all, you're incorrect, okay? I mean, totally incorrect on every single point you made. Jesus Christ was God. As God, Jesus Christ could speak every single language in the whole wide world, not just Aramaic. He could speak Arabic. He could speak Latin. He could speak Syriac. He could speak Coptic. He could speak African, he could speak Indian, he could speak English, he could speak Chinese, he could speak Japanese, he could speak every single language in the whole wide world. And Aramaic is not the oldest Bible, by the way, either. The oldest Bible was in Hebrew. It was the Old Testament, the Torah. It was originally written in Hebrew, the language of the Jews. Jesus was a Jew. He came to earth as a Jew. His language was Hebrew, not Aramaic. Aramaic did not come into play until 500, 600 BC. Before Jesus even came to the earth. It came in when the Babylonians and the Persians and the Syrians overthrew the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom of Jerusalem, and it overtook them and took all the Jews out of that land into their own land. Nebuchadnezzar of Babylonia overtook the southern kingdom, and the Persians and the Syrians overtook the northern kingdom. They were Babylonians. Their language was Aramaic. When a ruling party comes in, captures your land, they bring in their language. That's when Aramaic came in and replaced Hebrew, when they overtook the land. Oh my God, seriously, I have to give these lessons over and over and over, and no one knows them and no one learns them, and it's so frustrating. And then when the Jews finally got away from the Babylonians, which they did about 400 years later, and they started to return back to their own land, the Jewish land, they then reverted back to Hebrew because that was their language. So yes, the Bible was originally in Hebrew and Aramaic, two different languages. Then Jesus came along, and he was then at a time when the Romans were starting to colonize and take over from the Greeks. The Greeks had Romanized and taken over, and they'd brought in their language, Hellenistic, Koine Greek. And that was still the main language when Jesus came along. So the New Testament was written in Koine Greek, not Aramaic. Koine Greek! And the Old Testament was being translated back from Aramaic back into Hebrew. My gosh, I wish I could just get all these numbskulls together in one room, bang all their heads together and teach that Islamic crap out of them. Gosh, so annoying. And so by the time Jesus came along, the Bible was in Hebrew, Aramaic, and Koine Greek. Then, by the time the 3rd century came along, 300 AD, 300 years before Muhammad, it was also translated into Latin, as well as Indian and Ethiopian, and Armenian, and Coptic, and Syriac. Oh, Lord have mercy, please. I wish somebody would just, put a great big bomb under Muhammad's bum and under Mr. Allah's bum and under all the Islamic rubbish bum and just blow them all to smithereens, because they spout so much shit, so much crap and lies, and so many people believe it. It's unreal. So many people believe that crap. It's unreal. Seriously, what a load of shit Islam really is for spreading all this shit. Ahmed, my source is called History. That's my source, Ahmed. History. And the best history book, Ahmed, is the Old Testament. Why is the Old Testament the best history book, Ahmed? You give me the answer. Go on. Waiting for your answer, Ahmed. Why is the Old Testament the best history book? Boom, 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 boom. Come on, Ahmed. Why is the Torah, okay, you know it as the Torah. Let's call it the book you know, Ahmed. Why is the Torah, okay, it's fake. Ahmed, thank you so much. Thank you so much for saying that the book that Allah wrote with his own hand and then gave it to Moses is fake. Thank you so much, Ahmed, for admitting Allah's books that he wrote himself is fake. And if you don't believe me, Ahmed, Sahih Bukhari 6614, I suggest you leave my show now and you go and read Sahih Bukhari 6614, where it says Allah wrote the Torah himself. Idiot. Fools. I've no idea what you're chatting, Johnny, really, you know. I mean, really, you're chatting a load of doo-doo, Johnny. I mean, basically, Johnny, you sound exactly like Pooh Hamid, okay? There used to be a man called Pooh Hamid, and all he spoke was poo, and you're doing the same thing, Johnny. Ahmed, you couldn't destroy a little toenail, mate. Don't you're a joke, Ahmed. You're a joke. Why did I get home? Ahmed, you don't even know that your false fake God wrote the Torah. Salah is prayer, Craig. Salah is pray. That's what Allah did in Surah 33, ayah 56. In Surah 33, ayah 6, Allah fell down on the floor, prostrated himself before Jesus Christ, and prayed to the Lord Jesus Christ to save Muhammad. Sadly, his prayers were in vain because the Lord Jesus Christ will never save Muhammad. No, Johnny, God never lied. What you were reading, Johnny, if you read it very carefully, is that there were lying spirits. And those lying spirits called Allah and Muhammad, that's what God used. And he uses them only on people who wish to have lies, you know, and to tell lies. And so he sends them a lying spirit to help them lie. Oh, Lord have mercy. So many. Seriously, this world is so full of stupid, it is unreal. I mean, it's so easy to see why the world is in such a state, because all that's here is stupid. There's nothing else but stupid wherever you look. And as soon as they, you know, hear something that's totally stupid and wrong, they believe it. They just believe it, you know, straight away. It's amazing. Oh, Johnny. That's exactly what I just told you, Johnny. Johnny, that's exactly what I just told you. Listen to what I told you, Johnny. If you wish to lie, if you wish to deceive, if you wish to cheat, then God will send you the spirits and the devils and the shaitan and the Allah to help you lie, cheat, and deceive. But likewise, Johnny, if you turn round to God and say, "Dear God, please do not let me lie, do not let me deceive, and do not let me cheat. Keep those spirits away from me, God." Guess what, Johnny? Guess what God will do, Johnny? Oh, Benny. I've got to switch the light on, folks, because it's got a little bit darky. Oh, so let me switch a lighty on. Um, oh, oh, oh. I'm going to have to sort of go now anyway, because it's been over an hour and I wasn't going to stay this long. And there's only trolls here. Unfortunately, I didn't get anyone from the protected group here, apart from Hamid. But unfortunately, you know, Ahmed is one of the protected group who can't be taught. You know, they have eyes, but they cannot see. They have ears, but they cannot hear. I mean, basically, all you people that out there with eyes that work but you cannot see, and with ears that work but you cannot hear, you're just being so disrespectful to blind people and deaf people, because they don't have eyes, but they would love to be able to see. They don't have ears, but they would love to be able to hear. And yet you've got them and you don't use them. Why don't you just pluck your eyes out and give it to a blind person who would love to have them? Why don't you just rip off the ears and give them to a deaf person who would love to use them? Because you're not using them. No, I didn't say all of. Well, maybe I did, but if I did, I didn't mean all. Craig, I know there's not all trolls here. I know that. But I mean, the figures vary anyway. Sometimes it goes down to just one person. Sometimes it goes up to 7 or 10 people, you know. But very rarely does it go higher than 10. And obviously, if I had 200, 300, or even 1,000, God willing, you know, then I would obviously know that not everyone. But when you've got so little, you know, and especially when it drops down to 1 or 2, then, you know, it doesn't really sort of matter what you know, what you say, really, because it's all immaterial anyway. With just so few people here, it really is. And I don't know. I mean, I mean, I've had this channel for 5 years now. You know, and I mean, it took 3 years for me to get the live, you know, option, because you need at least 50 followers before you can go live. And it took me 3 years to get 50 followers. And even after that, when I started going live, you know, I think I'm now at 200. I think the last time I looked, I had 200. You know, I mean, in 5 years, that's it really is terrible. You know, as I say, especially when you see other people who don't have the same knowledge and the same wisdom, and they get thousands, you know, literally thousands and thousands, and yet they still don't know that Paul wrote the book of Hebrews. You know, I see them all the time when people come and ask them who wrote the book of Hebrews, and I'm sitting there shouting at the screen, Paul, Paul, Paul. I don't know. We don't know who wrote it. Maybe it was Paul, maybe it was Luke. We'll study the early church fathers more, especially St. Clement of Rome, who was a pupil of Peter. And so he also knew Paul very well, because Paul and Peter were very close. And St. Clement of Rome will tell you, Paul wrote the book of Hebrews right after the Council of Jerusalem. The Council of Jerusalem, which is in the book of Acts, where Paul went to speak to the Jews to convince them that circumcision was it didn't matter anymore, and you didn't need to be circumcised, and Gentiles could join the church and join it without getting circumcised. It was decided that Paul would stick to teaching the Gentiles and Peter would stick to teaching the Jews, because the Jews disliked Paul so much, so greatly, after he told them that. And because of that, because Paul knew he couldn't teach the Jews in Jerusalem anymore, he decided to write them a book. But because he knew that if they knew he had written it, he didn't reveal he wrote it. So he wrote a book of Hebrews in Hebrew, specifically for the Jews. And the first thing he did was hand it straight to Luke to translate it into Greek and tell Luke not to let anyone know who originally wrote it. And yet, very few people I see on this, know that information. Very, very few people. I mean, they have a lot of knowledge. I'm not, they do. They have a lot more knowledge than I do regarding the Bible. But that, they don't know nothing about it. And even when I tell them, I mean, I told, there's one rabbi, what's his, I can't remember his channel name now, and I probably shouldn't say his name anyway, but he is a Messianic Jewish, Christian, and he does his own YouTube. And I was on his, and I said, I told him that Matthew wrote his gospel first in Hebrew, and he sort of didn't accept that, but, still didn't do anything. But then as soon as I said to him, Paul wrote the book of Hebrews in Hebrew, specifically for the Jews, he banned me. He banned me just for saying Paul wrote the book of Hebrews in Hebrew. And that was a Jew. That was a Christianic, Jesus Christ believing Jew. And just because I said Paul wrote the book of Hebrews in Hebrew for the Jews, he banned me. Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, Craig, I mean, I know for a fact I'm doing something right, because on TikTok, they cannot let me go. They have to get me banned. They do everything they can to get me banned. I have 5 channels on TikTok. All of them are banned. All 5 are banned. I've got 2 in the red. And literally, they went into the red. One of them, is a new channel. One is a new channel, and it's nearly straight away went straight into the red, because they were banning me day after day after day. As soon as I went on, well, they'd ban me for a week, then I'd go back on after a week, they'd ban it again immediately. I'd wait a week, go back on, they'd ban it again. That's gone into the red. I opened up another news channel. They banned it before I got the guest entitlement removed. Once they give you the live, you need to go live on 3 separate days and once for at least 30 minutes. So they gave me the live, and I thought, okay, let's do the 30 minutes, because I always do that. I do the 30 minutes first, then I go live over 2 more days. That unlocks the guest feature. I went live for the first 30 minutes, no guest on, just me talking. They banned me for a week. And they banned me for a week because they said I'd already had a warning when I didn't. They gave me a warning for a text. I put up a text, Islam is false, Jesus Christ is God. They removed it immediately. I appealed it, they put it back up. They said that was my first warning, even though they put it back up. And they banned me for a week. So I waited a week, and then I went back on the week after. Okay, literally, I just finished the 30 minutes. When I went back the week after, I found out that because they banned it, it didn't apply the 30 minute. So I had to do a second 30 minutes. Literally, as soon as I finished the second 30 minutes, they banned me again for saying there's no truth in Islam. That's all I said. There is no truth in Islam. They banned me for a week again. Literally, that ban has just finished. I just finished doing the 30-minute one yesterday, I think it was. I've still got to go live over 2 separate days to unlock the guest feature on that. And I started up another new channel, and for some reason, I'm not getting any followers on it. I've got about, I think it's about 50 followers on it now after a week. After a week, normally I have 400 or 500 followers, and all the videos I post on it only have 20 or 30 views. So I think the Muslim moderator is holding that channel back. And it's definitely a Muslim moderator, I mean, they banned me when guests have come up, Muslim guests have come up, they've been swearing and shouting, your mum's a nigger, you're a nigger, everyone's a fucking nigger. And they banned my live because guests said that. Muslim guests, come on, said that, and they banned my live. They've done that 4 times. 4 times when Muslims have come up, oh, fucking wanker, fucking nigger, fucking cunt, nigger, nigger, and they banned my live because of a guest, a Muslim guest coming on and doing that. And the Muslims know if they come on and do that, TikTok will ban the live. All they have to do is report it before they come up. Report it either before or as they come up, report it, and they know that TikTok will ban the live. And that's what they keep doing because they can't answer me. None of them can answer me. Not one Muslim can answer any of my questions. Not one. That's what the Muslims say, Ahmed, on TikTok to get me banned. All your Muslim friends always use that same word because you're racist, Ahmed. And you proved that already, Ahmed. You proved yourself you're racist by saying the best people are the Arabs. That's racist, Ahmed. And Islam is racist. It's the most racist thing in the world is Islam. You have to dress like an Arab. You have to eat like an Arab. You have to poo-poo like an Arab. You have to speak like an Arab. You have to do everything like an Arab to be a Muslim. That, Ahmed, is racist. 100% racist. And they hate black men and they hate Jews. The Quran says anyone who goes to hell will be a black man. Anyone who goes to heaven will be a white man. That's what the Quran says. Racist. Totally racist. Muhammad called an Ethiopian a raisinhead. The first time he saw an Ethiopian, Muhammad said, oh, look at that raisinhead. So racist. Even animals, they're racist towards. Black dogs, they don't like black dogs. They don't mind white, they hate it. No, I'm not racist, Ahmed. Islam is. No, Craig, you're not being paranoid at all. Muslims do moderate TikTok and the text and everything else on TikTok, and they are extremely biased towards the Christians and anything non-Islam as well. Anything that speaks out against Islam, it will get banned. If you're speaking out against Christianity, okay, I guarantee on TikTok you won't get banned. Okay, I guarantee it. There's quite a few on TikTok who speak out against Christianity. There's one geezer, big chubby geezer with a beard, who says Jesus Christ is not God. He's a Unitarian, I think. He never gets banned. And there's also an American chick. She used to be a Christian, but she left the church because her pastor wanted to rape her, and she blames God for that. You know, for some sick reason, it's God's fault that her pastor, a man, wanted to rape her, and now she's not a Christian no more. And she always does shows about Christianity and God is false, and and no one should be a Christian. She never ever gets banned. Okay, and it's the same with the Muzzies. You watch the Muzzies on there, they never get banned, no matter what they say or do. They've actually said before on air they would unalive Christians and Jews, and they still don't get banned. But all the Christians always get banned. So there's definitely Muslim moderators on there. Definitely. Yeah, that's it, Craig. That was the one. Yeah. That's it. He does it with God Logic as well. I've heard him go on God Logic's one, and again, repeatedly, all he does is N repeatedly, just to get it banned. But Ahmed, don't make me laugh. Muhammad said, "Wipe your R with 3 stones." Ahmed, that's what Muhammad said. He said, "Wipe your ass with 3 stones and then kiss the stone and worship it." Ahmed, you can't hurt me, my son. You really think a wimp like you could hurt me? Ahmed, you can't hurt me. How do you think a man who runs around in a dress and wheezes like a woman could hurt me? Oh my gosh. A man dressed in a dress, and rapes little children can come and hurt me. Oh my God. I'd kick them so hard in the nuts, mate, they wouldn't fucking stand up for the rest of their lives. Gosh, idiot. Idiot. Yeah, it's Craig, you will. If you're a Christian and you're speaking out against this, you will get constant violations and constant bananas, Craig. You will. And that's from the Muslim moderator. There is a Muslim moderator on TikTok, definitely. And I think there might even be more than one. I think there might be several Muslim moderators on TikTok. Ahmed, you put me. Oh, Ahmed, you do make me giggle, Ahmed. You really do. I'm so grateful that you came to join and give me such a good laugh, Ahmed. In a dress. Oh, Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Oh. I'll tell you what, Ahmed, actually, even if you did that, guess what? At least then I could get revelation like Muhammad did. Because do you hear when Muhammad said the best time he gets revelation and the clearest time that he gets revelation from Mr. Allah, Subhan Allah, is when he's wearing Aisha's clothes. Muhammad liked to dress up in Aisha's clothes, put on a little pink panties and a little white socks so he could hear revelation from Muhammad, Allah. Oh, Lord of mercy. Oh. Oh. And anyway, people, it's been fun. God bless you all. Peace of Christ to you all. Yeah, pink panties, Charlie. Seriously, little pink panties. He stole them actually. One day they went out on a raiding party, and they got some pink panties and a pink bra, and Muhammad stole them. And then he got Allah to tell all his friends that he didn't steal them. Anyway, Pete, God bless you all. Peace of Christ to you all. As usual, nobody came. Not surprising, really. I suppose people don't want to listen to an old fart, but there you go. So I'm going to love you and leave you, folks. Peace of Christ.